Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the ordinary meeting of Council, Tuesday the 28th of October 2025, commencing at 5:30. Nala karak nunga mort kan karak ninja buja. We would like to acknowledge the Noongar people as the traditional custodians of the land in which we meet. Announcements by the President. First of all, I would like to acknowledge former Shire President Colin Crombie, former Shire President and Councillor Paul Omaday, and former councillor Mr Murray Ventress. Knew you couldn't stay away too long. Thank you very much. Announcements by the President. We attended the second Blueprint workshop today in Northcliffe. There was one held last night in Walpole that was very well attended. Northcliffe's was also very well attended. I would like to encourage anyone that is watching online, please register for the Manjimup one. They were very successful, and some of the information that I heard today was really enlightening, and it really does give us a good scope of the issues and priorities of each of our towns. So I'm really pleased with how well they're going so far. Would like to congratulate our new councillors and returning councillors on their first official ordinary meeting of council. We wish you all the very best of luck tonight, and I promise we will help you get through it as much as we can tonight. Just a quick shout out for a couple of festivals this weekend. We have the Avocado Festival, which is being held in Pemberton, and we have the Quinninup Fair, which is held on Sunday in, obviously, Quinninup. We are very honoured to have our Southwest Minister, Minister Punch, joining us for the Avocado Gala on the Saturday night, and I certainly will take that opportunity to express our issues and challenges while we have him down here. Apologies? We have none?
No, Madam President, we have no apologies. However, we do have one approved leave of absence from Councillor De Campo, who is in far north Queensland, I believe, at the moment.
Half his luck. Declarations of interest.
Thank you, Madam President. I have one declaration of an impartiality interest from Madam President in relation to agenda item 9.16.1. which has partially to do with the Warren Donnelly Water Advisory Committee, and the President has advised that she is the chair of that committee, hence has an impartiality interest on that one.
Thank you. Public question time.
There's no agendas here.
Are there no agendas in the corner? Sorry, Mr Crombie. We don't have any spare agendas printed out for you. Sorry. I'll do it slowly and you'll know exactly what's going on. We'll go and get some. Thank you. Okay, public question time. 5.1, response to public questions taken on notice. There are nil. 5.2, public question time. This is open to the gallery. This is your only opportunity at this meeting to address council. You can ask a question on any matter, not only what's on the agenda, but any matter that might concern you. You have 3 minutes to address council on any matter, and we would just ask that your name and address be stated at the beginning, so that will form part of our minutes. Are there any public questions? Come to the lectern, thank you.
This is first, so you have the direct right here.
Up to the lectern, thank you.
Right, name and address. Is it on?
Is it on?
Yeah, it does. Screw it. Is there a switch on there? No. I'll let you be honest. No, you can only try.
Is it?
Unscrew it.
Yeah.
So just for everyone's interest, we do have a couple of deputations tonight. When you hear the bell, it means you have 1 minute to go. Not looking at anyone, Mr. Omaday. Thank you.
I won't take up too much of your time.
I just wanted to bring to your attention a number of questions that I'd like answered. It's to do with the proposed increase in occupancy at 59 Bath Street. I don't have enough information. I must thank the Shire for sending me whatever information they had, but unfortunately I can't make a decision or comment, which the letter tells me I can't make a comment because I don't have enough information. So I've sent emails to Mr. Steve Moylan. I only just recently found your email, so you've got that. I have actually, prior to contact with two of you, contacted the Shire just to ask them did they receive an email. They have, still awaiting a response which will allow me to make a comment. And that's all I'd like to say.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you very
And
much.
thank you for the opportunity to comment.
Excellent, thank you. Are there any other questions? Comments, statements? Excellent, okay. Presentations, item 6, presentation. 6.1, petitions. There are nil. 6.2, presentations. There are nil. 6.3, deputations. Former Councillor Ventris, would you like to address us first?
Special thanks to the President for the opportunity to say something. For quite a period I've asked for 10 minutes to explain the magnificent Pemberton and haven't quite found the time to be able to do that, but when it comes to saying goodbye, she's graciously allowed me 10 minutes. Maybe there's a message in that. But no, in all seriousness, thank you very much to the President. It's been 4 years, 2 years as a councillor, 2 years as President, and I'd like to say lots of good things, but I know that she'll have a finger on the timer and making sure that I don't go over. But thanks very much particularly for the last 2 years. Councillor Darren, 4 years also, a bit of a gap in between, but at the last meeting, Councillor Darren agreed with something I said, and I guess that's one of the highlights that I'll take with me. And it's with some disappointment that I understand that Councillor De Campo is not with us tonight, but life has many twists and turns. I ran against Councillor De Campo on 2 occasions, and then I find myself in council with Councillor De Campo for 2 years. Serving with Wade's been a pleasure and an enjoyable experience. 2 years ago, he started by quoting Helen Keller, and I thought straight away, this is going to take some keeping up with. And last meeting, he quotes Councillor Ventris. Everyone wants a puppy, but no one wants a puppy farm. So I thought I'd return the favour tonight, try and think of something that was quite profound, said by Councillor De Campo in the last 2 years. And actually, I might need to just take that on notice, Councillor President. I'll get back to you with that one. But no, in all seriousness, particularly if Wade was here, I think it's been, if there's a legacy that I could leave, we ran against each other twice, and yet we had the opportunity to serve together for our community. And I think if that's the legacy that I can leave, that, you know, there's times that you've got to work with everybody to achieve something. So that's been really good. Councillor Milo, you'd think after 2 years ago I'd get that right, wouldn't you? But maybe we'll just stick to Vice President, and congratulations on being re-elected as Vice President. And it's been a really great experience the last 2 years working with the Vice President. Councillor Wilcox, 4 great years again. Well done on 399 votes. Come on, who was the person that didn't vote? $3.99 sounds like some special that you might get at Red Dot stores. Seriously, 400 sounds so much better. If I know Councillor Wilcox well, my guess is the person that didn't vote for Jenny was Jenny herself. I don't want her to answer that question because that's the reality that I'd like to keep. the person that didn't vote for Jenny was Jenny. It's been a real pleasure to sit alongside Jenny for the last 4 years, and yeah, it's to the new councillor, to the new young councillor. I think you're sitting in a prime seat there. Look, to all new councillors, best of luck. To the CEO and his staff, thank you. I was on the CEO selection panel, and as far as I'm concerned, it's been a great choice so far, so thank you for that, Ben. One of the highlights over the last 8 years has also been to see 2 junior staff members move up through the ranks and end up in the position of director, so to Catherine and Jason in particular. That's been it's been just one of the pleasures of being on council, seeing people coming through. But yeah, look, I haven't got the time to go through all past councillors and all staff, but as the last elected West Ward councillor, I think I'd like to take this opportunity before the Honourable Paul Omadei comes to the stand just to say thank you particular for his good advice, guidance over the journey, and 6 years as president. So yeah, I think that's been a really valuable thing, that we can join council and have experienced people on council. I do raise my concerns going forward that, you know, if we change the system and it's a whole new council potentially, that it's good to have people that have been on council and have had some experience. So look, I've already made a comment recently that council's been both rewarding and challenging. Challenging is a story potentially for another time, but what I've achieved, I've given some thought, what I've achieved over the last 8 years, and I've come to the conclusion you don't really achieve much on your own in council. To the new councillors, you know, you achieve little on your own in council, and that's most probably one of the first lessons that you need to learn when you join council. But I think over the journey, it'd be fair to say that we've had a few wins as a council, and you know, I'd like to think that yeah, I've been able to contribute to some of those wins as we've gone along. In finishing, and for the benefit of those who don't know, Helen Keller is blind, and so is Andre Bichelli. So I've just got something here, if I can make this technology work. That's not going to work. But in the words of Andre Bichelli and Sarah Brightman, it's just simply time to say goodbye. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Ventris. Your contribution and absolute commitment to your community is second to none, and we will definitely miss your not being able to contain 6 minutes, how hard it is being the only councillor in Pemberton, and we will definitely miss your presence around the table. Thank you. The Honourable Paul Omadei.
Thank you, Madam President. My name is Paul Omadei. I reside at 14586 Bass Highway, Eastbrook, and have been a councillor here for quite a number of years. I had a couple of things I was going to hand out to you, but I thought I'd bring you through the journey a little bit. It's been a long run, and just talking to Councillor Danieli, who's 25 years of age, I started when I was 26. The only difference is I think I had 4 kids at that stage, councillor. So that's just a bit of a hint. But congratulations to the new councillors that have been elected to council. You'll find it both challenging and rewarding. And congratulations to the current sitting councillors. There's no doubt there's a lot to deal with. I'd also like to acknowledge the staff who were very supportive of me in the time that I was the president. So in all, I had some notes, and I'm sure the bell is going to ring on me for sure. But yeah, so in my time, so this is an example of where you can go, councillor. I actually joined the council because they doubled our rates, and we're still talking about rates now. So in that time, so I was on the council for 12 years in the first run, 4 years as the president, 2 years as deputy, and then I had another calling and I got beaten in the election by 197 votes. So I came back again and then managed to become the member for Warren, it was at that stage, which later became Warren Blackwood. So in my first 4 years in Parliament, I was the Shadow Minister for Local Government and would you believe, Agriculture. I always wanted to be the Minister for Agriculture because I'm a farmer, of course. So I had agriculture and water. At about that time, there was a really serious problem with sewage flowing into the Swan River. There was 130 houses that required infill sewage. And in downtown Pemberton, young Ryan Martin and his mates were doing slideys in the road verge through this green slime. So it was pretty motivating. So we embarked on this $800 million infill sewage program. So we did all the work in my office, and then when we finally opened it, the Premier flew over in the helicopter and took all the credit, which is what Premiers do. So at that time, of course, that was the first 4 years. So I was Shadow Minister the first 4 years, then I became the Minister for Water and Local Government. Monty House, my opposition fellow, actually continued as the Minister for Agriculture. So later on, I also was the Minister for Disability Services, for Multicultural Affairs and for Forest Products. But the local government scenario was very volatile at the time. We had a very good Department of Local Government, well led by a fellow by the name of John Lynch, who used to play football, so that made him a hero in my eyes. So, so the department was a standalone department and a lot of expert people on the department. So during the next 8 years, we had inquiries into Boddington, into Coburn, into South Perth, into Nedlands, and of course we had to suspend Augusta Margaret River in my own electorate, whereupon the President said to me he would never ever vote for me again. So we also split the city of Perth, so there's a dissolution it was rather than as a result of an inquiry, and the city was split into Cambridge, Vincent, City of Perth and Victoria Park. We then split the City of Wanneroo into Wanneroo and Joondalup, and then the Shire of Albany, we amalgamated the Shire and the town of Albany, which became the City of Albany. So a lot of work went on back in those days. It was a rewarding time. When you're actually in public office and you get things done, it gives you a sense of satisfaction, which I think keeps you going. And I've often said that if you've got something to offer, if you have a knowledge base that is going to assist your fellow man or your community, then I think you're morally obliged to make a contribution. And sitting behind me is Colin Crombie, who spent, I think, 18 years as a councillor and as a president in the heady days of where we met, where the office is over there in a V-shaped table, 13 councillors. And my main motivation of joining councillors was when I called in to see how the council was operating, 2 of them were asleep. So I hope that doesn't happen here. I'm sure it won't. I wanted to make special mention of Councillor Ventris. I think he was an outstanding councillor, one of the best councillors that Pemberton ever had. He was certainly no holds barred and was well, how could you describe councillor? He was persistent, very persistent. So I actually got the benefit of some of that information along the way. So it's been an interesting time. When I left Parliament in 2008, I went home for a while, looked at the local council and I thought they were going reasonably well, and then decided to stand again. So whilst I'm leaving council, I'm not retiring from local government. I still have an interest in being one of the monitors, Mr. CEO. You can put a good word in with it for me. But obviously the new local government inspector is going to be very important to local government. He's a genuine, really good bloke, and I think that will be a challenging job. So the inspector will appoint the monitors. They will be appointed whenever there's a council that's in trouble. We'll report back to the inspector, and then if the council is still recalcitrant, they'll receive a show cause letter as to why they shouldn't be suspended. So that's where we're heading in the near future, and I think that system should work. But in the meantime, there are a lot of challenges here locally in our community to find industries that will come to this district that will generate jobs. That to me is the highest priority. And some of the issues are staring you right in the face. I won't go over all of them because I don't want to tell you how to suck eggs, but I'm sure the blueprint concept will go very, very well. Unfortunately, Murray Ventris and I won't be able to be in Pemberton because it's actually going on right now, and I think Jason is going to be running down there shortly. So yeah, so the blueprint, of course, becomes part of the strategic plan. So it's a really good opportunity for all of you councillors to get people around you. So far, the attendances have been good. I think the concept's great. What happened in the past is we had meetings in all of the towns, but all the working people were working, and so we only got a small number of people that made that contribution. So it gave a bit of a distorted strategic plan, I think. So this process, I'm confident that it will go very, very well, and I can talk for myself, won't be looking over your shoulder, but will always take an interest in local government, as it's been a big part of my life so far. So thank you, Madam President, for your invitation and for the manner in which we've been received. It's been a privilege to serve at the Shire of Manjimup. Thank you.
Thank you, Paul. On behalf of the community, I would like to thank you for your continued service and commitment to the entire Shire. We are all very well versed on the Local Government Act now. Very well. So thank you both very much for your commitment to all of our communities and the entire Shire. And please come back anytime in the gallery. Thank you. Mrs. Johnson.
Thank you, Madam President. I'm Leanne Johnston and I live in Dean Mill area. I have no alliance to 14 Cameron Street, but I've been noticing our community is really lacking the supply of housing for residential families, and we seem to be very focused on rural workers accommodation, and they're chewing up into our single residents. And going forward, I think council should consider not just the neighbours, but also the commercial businesses that have outlaid backpacker accommodation and other things in our community, because commercial interests should always be considered when making decisions. 14 Cameron Street's proposal was sent, I never saw, Shire did send letters to the neighbours, which wasn't very clear as to what the proposal was. So looking at the agenda last night, I see that the applicant filled out a very clear management report, which clearly indicated that the intent of use was for rural workers accommodation. They stated they will have a minimum of 15 workers staying at the property. The property is a single residence in Cameron Street, but the size of it is about over 300 square metres. So it does have 5 bedrooms and the facility for housing a lot more people than that. If you put bunk beds in there, you could have a lot. It'll essentially, to my view, it's a lodging house. And when you refer to the local planning scheme, 4.20 interpretation of the zoning table, there's no rural accommodation allowed in the residential zone. And so I sort of want to encourage council today, when they address that agenda item, that they do their due diligence and actually look at what was presented to council. It was actually just a management report. There is no letter supporting their intention. I would like to see that proposal rejected and that the applicant actually goes through the process of completing a lodging house application, which would substantiate the change to a residential building, as a lodging house will be an annual registration fee, which is revenue. It has great ongoing compliance monitoring and management protocols. which actually protects council, it protects the residents in that area, and plus it also considers commercial entities which are providing the same service, which is actually accommodation. Thank you.
Thank you very much. That completes our deputations for tonight. 6.4 is delegate reports. There are nil. And 6.5, conference reports. There are nil. Confirmation of the previous minutes. Come on, councillors. This is up to you now. Councillor Mylan.
Madam President, just find the page, make sure I read it correctly. I would move that the minutes of the ordinary meeting of the Council held on the 30th September 2025 and the minutes of the special meeting of Council held on the 21st of October 2025 be confirmed as a true and accurate record.
Thank you. Is there a seconder? Councillor Wilcox. Can we put that to the vote, please, councillors? All those in favour? Passed 8-0. Thank you. Okay. For the interest of the gallery, motions of which previous notice has been given, there are nil. For the interest of the gallery, I'll explain how we are about to consider the agenda items for this meeting. All council have had the agenda for 1 week, giving us time to thoroughly review each item. This meeting is the only time that councillors are able to formally debate agenda items. I will read out each item listed on the agenda, and any councillor will be able to identify an agenda item they wish to debate. These items will be listed on the board behind me. All items not identified by councillors to be debated will be moved in accordance with the officer's recommendation in one motion as listed in the agenda and moved en bloc for voting purposes. If your item is not listed on the board and it is moved en bloc, it will be passed as per the officer's recommendation. Following this, council will consider the remaining items in agenda order. Okay, executive services, let's go down a bit more. Executive services, 9.3, finance and administration, 9.3.1, Shire financial payments for August 2025. 9.3.2, monthly statement of financial activity, August 2025. Development services, statutory planning, 9.5.1, proposed change of use from dwelling to rural workers accommodation at lot 9211 in brackets 472 Yanmar Road, Yanmar is taken out, please. 9.5.2, request to initiate local planning scheme amendment number 34 for lot 101 Demiris Ave, Jardee is taken out, please. 9.5.3, delegated planning decisions, September 2025. 9.5.4, change of use from a dwelling single to a residential building at lot 29 in brackets 14 Cameron Street, Manjimup is taken out, please. Ranger and emergency services. 9.7.1, proposed appointment of Shire control officers for the 25-26 bushfire season. 9.7.2, proposed fire weather officers. Community and recreation services. 9.9.1, proposed financial assistance agreement establishment of the off-road vehicle area is taken out, please. Advisory committees. 9.16.1, nomination of persons to represent council on external committees and other bodies is absolute and taken out. 9.16.2, unconfirmed informal meeting notes of the Northcliffe Forest Park Advisory Committee meeting held on the 15th of September 2025. 9.16.3, unconfirmed informal meeting notes of the Airfield Management Committee meeting held on the 1st of October 2025. Councillors, can I just ask, especially to the new councillors, there are definitely no other items that you want taken out, because it's the only ones listed on the board will be the ones that we now debate. All good? Excellent, thank you. Would someone like to adopt those recommendations, please? Councillor Darren.
I move that council adopt the recommendations contained in the council officers and committee reports on pages 1 to 52 of the agenda, with the exception of those on the board. Is there a seconder? Councillor Burns, thank you. Councillors, can we put that to the vote, please? All those in favour? Is carried 8-0. Thank you. Okie doke. Page 12. 9.5.1,
Proposed change of use from dwelling to rural workers accommodation at lot 9211 in brackets 472 Yanmar Road, Yanmar. Councillor Darren.
I'll move as per the officer's recommendation with one amendment, adding a point 2, that this development approval is valid for a period of 12 months only. After this time, the approved use must cease unless a new application is submitted and approved by the Shire of Manjimup to continue the use on the site.
Thank you, Councillor Darren. Is there a seconder? Councillor Wilcox. Councillor Darren, did you want to speak to the motion, please?
I do. So the reasoning for the the reasoning for the amendment is that a 12-month approval will allow the Shire staff to prepare a policy position on workforce accommodation both on rural and on residential land. There is no doubt that these applications maybe caught us a little bit off guard. They are something that I think is going to come up more and more, and they are certainly very complex and sensitive within our communities. And I do think that there is a policy that needs to be developed around this to help guide us of what this is going to look going forward. Certainly in some of the comments, this property, if this is approved tonight, will still need to go through a lodging house application so that it still does meet the conditions of other properties that are providing accommodation in this way, and there will be additional regulations that they'll need to maintain going forward with that approval. But in reality, this is going to require balance. We're going to need to have a compromise on both sides of this. The simple fact is we are an agricultural community, and we do need to support the agricultural sector by ensuring that there is housing and suitable housing for people that are working. I was here during COVID. That was something that Councillor Omaday didn't mention, was that he was the Shire President that saw us through COVID, which is something he should be very proud of. But I remember being here during COVID, and we didn't know whether or not we would have enough workers to actually work the farms and be able to have the produce come off the farms and keep this economy going. Now we have so many workers, we don't know where we're going to house them. So it is an important part of our local economy and the industries that support our local economy and our community. But on the flip side, we do have to understand that these are community areas where people live, where people's families are, and this is a different use than what we would normally expect in a residential area or in a farmland area where we would be looking at priority agriculture rather than a property that was simply used for people to live in. So there are challenges. We're going to have to compromise. We're going to have to find the balance, and the best way for us to do that is through having a policy that will guide us and that we can assess these applications against so that everybody is on the same playing field, and to the greatest extent possible we can balance the ideals of everybody that is involved. This recommendation allows us to let the industry go forward, but with a restriction of 12 months, so that in 12 months' time we can assess it against the new policy. That means that everybody that gets an approval for these is playing on the same field. It wouldn't be fair if we had properties that were approved now under a blanket approval, that then in 12 months' time we started approving properties like this against a policy, and then people were looking across the fence saying, well, why can they do something when we can't? So I think it is important that we restrict it to 12 months for the purposes of ensuring that we are able to assess every application against a new policy that we will feed into. But in the meantime, we do need to support the industry, in part because we do know, especially when it comes to the palm scheme, that if we want to attract workers and if workers are reducing in number, we do know some of these places are considering whether or not it actually works for their country and their own communities to continue sending people over here. We want to be the employer of choice. We don't want people going to blueberry farms in northern New South Wales. We want them coming to Manjimup to work so that we have the workers here to support our industry. How do we do that? Well, one of those ways can be ensuring that our local businesses can be the employer of choice. And in part, that can be ensuring that they have better housing. We have better options. They are a part of a community, that this community allows them to live in a space where they're not isolated and that they're actually part of a community where they can walk to church and walk to the shops, be a part of our sporting groups, potentially volunteer, and be a part of what is amazing about Manjimup and Northcliffe and Walpole and Pemberton. And we want to encourage that going forward. So, like I said, this is about balancing that. This gives the approval. It allows us 12 months to test the market in many ways, see whether or not some of the concerns that have been raised are actually true. Does it cause disruption? Does it cause issues for the neighbours? Or are we assuming that it might do? We simply don't know. There is no right or wrong answer. At this point in time, we have to make a call without that information, and I think this is a good way for us to test it, give the opportunity to the industry to prove that it can work in these areas, and that we can support neighbours to have these things nearby and it still work for our community, but at the same time allow us to be able to develop a policy to have the regulations around that going forward. So I do encourage you to support this motion and hopefully over the next few months come up with a good way of moving forward, because if we don't, we are going to keep coming up with these things and we're going to keep having the challenges. We have to deal with it up front.
Thank you, Councillor Darren. Councillor Wilcox.
I concur with Councillor Darren
Councillor Wilcox.
on all
Councillor
points.
Wilcox.
And I would suggest that everybody does support this, because it alleviates ad hoc decisions and ending up with a bit of a dog's breakfast at the end, and we haven't really got any guidelines. And I think with the Bluetown project, here we are sprouting off that we're going to have guidelines. Let's put our money where our mouth is and do it ourselves.
Thank you, Councillor. Are there any speakers against the motion? Are there any other speakers? Councillor Mylan.
Yeah, I support the motion really majorly for the reasons that Councillor Darren has already outlined. And however, one of the prime reasons I am supporting it is because it's on a rural property. Where it's located, I think makes it logical for what's called rural workers' accommodation. And so for that caveat, I suppose, I will be voting for this one. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Mylan. Are there any other speakers? Councillor Darren, did you want to close? Can we put that to the vote, please, councillors? All those in favour? Carried 8-0. Thank you. Page 18, 9.5.2, request to initiate local planning scheme amendment number 34 for lot 101, Demiris Drive, Jardee. Councillor Darren.
Councillor Campo goes away and he makes me do all the talking. I'll move as per the officer's recommendation with the replacement of point 5 with subject to no proposed modifications as a result of submissions received from advertising, delegate authority to the Chief Executive Officer to support scheme amendment 34 and forward it to the West Australian Planning Commission under Regulation 44 of the Planning and Development Local Planning Schemes Regulation 2015.
Thank you, Councillor Darren. Is there a seconder? Councillor Wilcox. Councillor Darren, did you want to speak to the alternative?
I mentioned this was Councillor De Campo's alternative, so I'll read out the reasoning for his. Council is overall supportive of the creation of additional lots for housing closer to town sites and therefore, subject to no modifications being made, do not wish to delay the decision outcome by reviewing the proposal again. It is acknowledged that a resolution is required under the Planning and Development Local Planning Schemes Regulations 2015 and that the resolution needs to be made with the prior knowledge of if the documents need to be modified or not. Essentially, Councillor De Campo's intention was to be able to say that if there is no issues with this, that we can continue forward with delegation to the CEO, allowing this to move forward in a quicker and more efficient manner rather than it continuing to come back to Council for us to essentially tick a box on something that we are saying that we are confident to go forward, because we do want to improve housing access and land development is one of those areas that we need to be working on. So I encourage you to support the motion.
Thank you, Councillor Darren. Councillor Wilcox, did you want to speak to the motion? Are there any speakers against the motion? Are there any other speakers? Shall we put it to the vote then, councillors? All those in favour? Carried 8-0. Thank you. Page 28. Why am I not on page 28? Okay, 27. 9.5.4, change of use from dwelling single to a residential building at lot 29 in brackets 14 Cameron Street, Manjimup. Councillor Darren.
I'll move as per the officer's recommendation with the inclusion of another point inserted into point 2. This development approval is valid for a period of 12 months only. After this time, the approved use must cease unless a new application is submitted and approved by the Shire of Manjimup to continue the use on the site.
Thank you, Councillor Darren. Is there a seconder? Councillor Wilcox. Councillor Darren, did you want to speak to the motion?
I did kind of put all of my points into the first one, but Councillor Mylan probably did make the point that maybe more of my argument was related to this item. So I'm not going to go through all of that again. I do acknowledge that this property is slightly different, but I think the same points are there, and we should look to approve this one as well moving forward, and see where things pan out over the next few months.
Thank you, Councillor. Councillor Wilcox.
I don't think I need to say anything either, because it all falls into having a plan and a policy, and this falls under the same thing. So I would encourage everyone to vote for it. Thanks.
Thank you, Councillor. Are there any speakers against the motion? Councillor Tempera.
I feel that this is very closely linked to the previous motion about the rural place of lodgings, which I voted for to have it as workers' accommodation. And I totally agree with Councillor Darren that this should be a balanced approach. But I think with balance, we also need to tread softly. So having a group of workers on a rural property is quite different to having a group of workers in a residential area. And I know that neighbours within 100 metres of the property were asked for their concerns, and 3 out of the 4 raised objections to it, and a lot of their reasons were very similar. I'm not anti-workers at all. I know how important they are to our agriculture in this area, but I think if we are looking to develop a policy, we need not rush it. And I think our first dipping our toe in the water is the approval in the rural zone for the workers to reside there. I think we possibly need to watch that as our yardstick before we start venturing into residential areas. I am also of the concern that this property is big and can house a lot more people than possibly is suggested, and that was in the background of the toing and froing between the amount of people, workers that would be lodging there as well. We talk about a 12-month plan to watch and see, but they're saying the proponents of this have said that it will only be used from October to July. So what about those other months? We do have a shortage of houses for families in this town as well. And I think if we can just make the distinction at the moment while we develop our policy for rural and then making ways into residential, I don't think it's wise to do both at the same time. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor. Are there any other speakers for the motion? Are there any other speakers against the motion? Councillor Marlin.
Thanks, Madam President. Yes, I'd like to speak against the motion for some of the reasons that have already been outlined, that it is in a residential area. And I know that there are a number of other proposals like this in the pipework. And I believe that if we grant this for a 12-month period, and whilst we develop the policy, we'll be obligated to do the same fairly well with the other ones that I know of. And I'm not sure where that will end. I believe that we do need to develop the policy. Should we vote against this motion, then obviously this application fails to be approved, and the proponents will be able to house 6 people in there anyway. 6 workers can stay in there without being classed as a lodging house. And so I take the point and appreciate the comments of Mr Johnson, but the officer's report does include the fact that they do have to have approval as a lodging house. So I don't know how we capture developing a policy if we vote against this, which I encourage you to do for the reasons I've just outlined, being in a residential area. I'm not sure that, and the people that I know who live in Manjimup, and I've spoken to a few people, had some concerns about having 10 people unknown to each other living right in close proximity to them, whether they be, and I think all of the same sex, so it could be all males or all females in the same place, could be young people who may or may not know each other very well, and how that might sort of evolve socially. I think they did have some concerns about it. It's nothing against the fact that it's rural workers. I'm looking at it purely as a lodging house that could be used to lodge anyone, workers or any residents who might decide to lodge in such a situation. So because of the virtue of the fact that it's in a residential area, I think if we decline this, maybe we need to bring some other motion to the council to say develop the policy, as Councillor Darren has sensibly suggested. But at this stage, I think we should vote against this, and then the proponents will be able to house 6 people in there for the next foreseeable until we consider the matter again. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor. Are there any other speakers? Councillor Darren, did you want to close? Oh.
Can I just make a comment?
Yes, thank you. Mr. CEO.
Thank you, Madam President. Sorry, Councillor Darren. If the matter is not carried tonight, what that means, and particularly for the newer councillors, it means that there's no decision on this application. It's not a rejection of the application, and the staff would need to then bring the report back to council next month for the council to make a decision, either yes or no. So can I encourage the councillors to maybe consider foreshadowing a motion, which might be to refuse the application?
Councillor Mylan.
Can I foreshadow a motion to refuse the application and to include a point in there that we develop a policy for rural workers' accommodation, both in residential and non-residential areas, as it purports to lodging houses.
Yes, thank you. Yep, that would be good.
Thank you, Madam President. I promised that tonight was going to be nice and simple. However, we're delving into some procedural steps here, which are a little bit not unusual, but don't happen all the time. So in the instance where an item is not carried, so it's not carried, before that decision is taken, a councillor can foreshadow a different motion. And so if this motion that you're looking at the moment fails, you can then go to the foreshadowed motion. And it's a mechanism to keep the matter live, to make a different decision. And I can explain that a bit more slowly in the cold light of day when we go through further inductions. But you might need to rely on some of the other councillors to help you with the procedure, which Councillor Mylan has done there.
Yep. Thank you. Councillor Darren, did you want to close? Thank you.
Yes, please. I acknowledge the concerns of Councillor Mylan and Councillor Tempera. I would like to point out that all of those reasons are not planning reasons to turn down an application, which means that if we either leave this sitting on the table or we take up the foreshadowed motion to reject it, we are likely to end up in SAT, and we will likely lose that SAT application. For the simple fact is that we can't reject things just because we don't like them or we don't like the idea of them. We can only reject things based on planning rules and planning regulations. And so far we actually haven't given any reason at a planning level as to why we would reject this. It's not that it is breaching any planning rules. We have the authority to make these decisions as a council, and if we don't, we do need to accept that we are potentially looking at thousands of dollars for lawyers to take this to SAT, where we probably won't win. The neighbours have seen this alternative. They have been in contact with Councillor Wilcox, and we have shared the alternative with them. My understanding is that they are okay with the alternative. They recognise that the limitations with the 12 months and the restrictions on the numbers that are included in there is a reality and a part of this process. So they have actually acknowledged that, and so that is a counter that although they did raise objections, they have been willing to come to the table and try to meet us halfway and understand that we do need to work through this in some ways. And that, yes, they had indicated that they were supportive of the alternative as it was raised. But I would encourage you to support the motion because I do truly believe that if we don't deal with this and we do reject it or we leave it sitting on the table, this is likely to go ahead anyway. And if it goes ahead anyway, it might not have the 12 months in it.
Thank you, Councillor Darren. Can we please put the alternative recommendation as requested, as put forward by Councillor Darren to the vote? All those in favour? And against? 4-4, which means I get the deciding vote, which will be supporting Councillor Darren. Thank you. Okay. So, did you understand that? Do you want us to go through? Are you right with the? Okay, good. Just want to make sure everyone's good. 991 is the proposed financial assistance agreement, establishment of the off-road vehicle area. Councillor Darren.
I forgot I pulled this out too. I'll move as per the officer's recommendation.
Thank you. Is there a seconder? Actually, I'll second. Sorry, Mr. Burr. Sorry, Councillor Burns. I'm going to second that one. Thank you, Councillor Darren. Did you want to speak to that? Thank you, Councillor.
Yeah, I do. This is a great project. And there has certainly been a lot of back and forth, and I know everybody sitting around this table last week heard me have a lot to say about it. But I do want to acknowledge that I think that this is a really good recommendation. It's acknowledging the $990,000 that we have received, but makes it clear that until we can get our feasibility study done and understand where we're going to be locating this and the costs involved in it, that we can't make a firm commitment that this will definitely happen. I do truly believe that to go forward with this project, and I hope that we do, that we need to find the funding to do it properly and to get it done with, so that we're not holding up resources, both financial and our people resources, for years and years and years chasing money that we hope is there. So I think this is a really great recommendation that says, yes, we want to go ahead, we want to do this. Thank you for the $990,000, state government, but please also know that it's highly likely we're going to need a bit more money to get this done. So I encourage you to support the motion and to encourage you to support the project moving forward. And if anybody out there is listening, maybe encourage a bit more money to come to the project so we can get it done.
Absolutely. Thank you, Councillor. This has been a long-standing project that the Shire have been working through. Its numerous stages. This is just one of many stages. Acknowledging what Councillor Darren said, the almost $1 million is not going to get us across the line with this stage, but it's a very good start, and it does give us the leg up to seek that further funding. It also gives us the ability to diversify our tourism scope. Not everyone rides a push bike. Some people like an engine on their bike, and that's what this is based on. It also enables, this is very much, this side of the project is encouraging family participation. I would very much, and the acknowledgement of the receipt, and then working forward to make sure that the Shire is not left with the baby in this circumstance is very important. So I would also encourage you to support this motion and congratulate the officers and staff that have worked so very hard to get this across the line. Are there any speakers against the motion, the recommendation? Are there any other speakers? Fabulous. Councillor Darren, did you want to say? Okay, can we put that to the vote, please, councillors? All those in favour? Is carried 8-0. Thank you. Okay, 9.16.1 is the nominations of persons to represent council on external committees and other bodies. We can go out of standing orders, yes.
Madam President, can I move that we go out of standing orders?
Thank you, Councillor Mylan. Is there a seconder? Councillor Tempera. Can we vote on that, please, councillors? All those in favour? Is carried 8-0. Thank you. Okay. Standing orders. Steve and Heidi. Councillor Tempera. Okay, councillors, these are important external committees of councillor. Thank you very much, former councillor Ventress and your honourable Shire Paul Omaday. Thank you very much. Have left the building. Okay, so, yep. Yes. So, just to explain to the new councillors, we have voted to suspend standing orders, which means that we can speak freely. We will work out who is going on to these groups, and then we'll go back into standing orders, and that'll become part of the recommendation. Just means that we can speak freely, and it doesn't have to be the for against and only speak once and all the other stuff that we have to abide by. So let's deal with DAP, which is the Development Assessment Panel. Any nominations for DAP? Councillor Mylan, Councillor Tempera, me, and Councillor Wilcox. Fabulous. Councillor Mylan, Councillor Tempera, me, and Councillor Wilcox. Fabulous. Regional Road Group. I'm going to nominate as the member for Regional Road Group. Is there... So how do we go about this? So,
Hang on. Just confirm whether.
sorry, I'll turn that back on. Okay, I am going to nominate for being the member, Councillor Mylan, proxy. Okay, what we will do then, we'll just note them and then come back.
I think we probably should deal with them.
As we go?
Yeah, as we go through, yeah.
So what the proposal is, let me just write this down because otherwise I'll forget. What the proposal is that we will give each of you 5 minutes to state your case. It will then go to a vote of council, unless one of you wants to step down. Well, let's do that. Okay. Do we have any little slips?
I've got the slips, so we do,
Okay.
do the 5 minutes each.
Fantastic. So we're going to do it alphabetically. So Councillor Daniele, I will give you 5 minutes to state your case, please.
Thank you, Madam President. All these roads built, I will see them for the rest of my lifetime.
Oh, you can't argue with that. Thank you. Didn't even take 20 seconds. Well done. Councillor Mylan, top that.
Okay. Are we sitting down out of standing orders? Well, I hope to see some of them. Some of the roads. Look, the reason I'd like to remain as a proxy is that I have attended as a proxy a couple of times in the regional road groups, which I think meets 4 times a year. And it sort of took me a while to get my head around a little bit. Look, the regional road group funding and discussions on roads of priority for our region is a really important for us to have a say in it. And I'm confident that we can do that with our president as a member. But I'd like to be able to fill in for her and deputise if if the situation arises in the future. And I did, I think, until 1 or 2 as an observer, even when the president was there, because something that I felt like I need to get my head around. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor. We will now distribute the slips.
Okay, so Madam President, I'll just
Thank you.
explain. So if you can, councillors, just write the name of the preferred candidate on there, and I'll come back.
Oh, no. God.
Thank you.
Thank you. I would tell you a joke during this, but I only know one, and I did that last meeting, so, you know. Oh my God.
That's 6-2 for Councillor Mylan.
Excellent. Okay, so the results have come out 6-2 in favour of Councillor Mylan. Thank you, Councillor Mylan. The next one is the Southwest Zone, which we actually don't have to make any decisions on because it's all automatically the Shire President and the Deputy, the same as the Warren Blackwood Alliance of Councils. So just, yes? Yeah,
I've had a faux pas.
what have you done?
Councillor De Campo.
Fair.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Yes, okay. We're just going to go back a step. Good thing we're not in standing orders and we can do
Yeah.
this.
My apologies, councillors. I did have an email this afternoon from Councillor De Campo, who has requested to be nominated onto the regional road group and also the Warren Donnelly, but we'll deal with that one in a moment. Councillor De Campo has strict instructions to me that he would like to nominate to be the council member but not a proxy. All or nothing, he says. And has asked me to read out
As long as it's under 5 minutes, we're
three and a half minutes worth. So I'm quite glad that we're out of standing orders because I might need to recast those votes in a three.
Hang on.
Sorry.
No, because
No.
it's.
Yes. Sorry.
Hang on, he's just text to say he will withdraw from the regional road group.
Okay.
Do you trust my text messages? He does say, tell them I will withdraw from RRG.
As long as you text yourself.
Oh, okay. No, he's just texted me as well, saying withdraw me from RRG, Ben. Thank you, Councillor De Campo.
Councillor Campo's watching online from
Yeah.
Queensland. So if
We
you're
were
ready
about to
say nice
recast the
things-
votes.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Crisis averted.
Okay, so the Southwest Zone is automatically Shire President and the Deputy. The Southwest Zone for new councillors is the 12 local government that we come together a few times a year to discuss, to make sure to advocate as a wider body to the state government through WALGA for issues. The Warren Blackwood Alliance of Council is our 5 local councils, being Boyup Brook, Donnybrook, Balingup, Bridgetown, Greenbushes, Nannup, and of course us. So that is also automatically Shire President and Deputy. The Warren Donnelly Water Advisory Committee. So I am the chair of this committee. This is a very important, not that I'm biased, but this is a very important committee. I know Councillor De Campo has nominated as member or proxy? Member, yep. And Councillor Darren, Councillor Tempera and Councillor De Campo.
Sorry, can I change to proxy?
Proxy? Yep.
Sorry.
Yep, we'll do that next. Fabulous. So Councillor Darren and Councillor De Campo. Do you want to read Councillor De Campo's first and then Councillor?
You went alphabetically.
Yes, okay. Councillor Darren, you're up first. Thank you.
Do I? So yes, this is an important group that helps to determine the surface water allocations and surface water generally across the Warren-Donnelly region. And I think I bring a balanced understanding of regional economic development. I've been consulting to businesses generally across the Shire for quite a few years now, and in part that has been to agricultural businesses across the sector, from horticultural to livestock to forestry businesses, and in particular having first-hand experience supporting them with water security and efficiency projects. And so that gives me an understanding of how water management decisions affect not only the sector and the businesses, but also the livelihoods that are behind that. And that's not just business livelihoods, that is the people behind those businesses. It's the families and the people working in them, and much broader, the community that really is supported by the agricultural industry. And getting these allocations and these decisions right really underpins that sector, but also underpins what is our local economy, particularly in Manjimup. I do think this role as the Shire representative on this body is about the broader interests of the Shire, and really ensuring that the decisions benefit the entire region as a whole and not certain interest groups. And I think that is something where I can step into that. I am impartial when it comes to these. I don't have a vested interest myself. And so that allows me to think about the impacts of the broader decisions that have on the community as a whole, and not just on particular interest groups. I was a councillor and the Deputy Shire President during the Southern Forest Irrigation Scheme. Those of you that were around the region at that time understand how complex and complicated, how sensitive that issue was throughout our community, and really divided this community. And at the time, in my roles, I really understood that my job was to understand all of the different perspectives. I went to all of the meetings. I went out with farmers from both sides of the debate. I was sitting in this room when DEWA came and asked the hard questions as to why they were allocating in the way they were, why they were assessing their applications in the way they were, why there was gaps in the analysis and in the data that they were collecting. And then when CSIRO rocked up here as well and has also identified those, it was my notice of motion in 2021 that depoliticised this issue in this council chamber. It was that notice of motion that said this Shire is going to be neutral when it comes to water because it's not our remit. And it was that motion that said we are going to back science-based and evidence-based analysis, and we're going to put it back onto the Department of Water to ensure that the decisions that underpin everything when it comes to water allocations and water in this region are going to be made on factual and strong evidence, because it has an impact more broadly for our community. So although I might not seem the logical choice, I'm not a farmer. I don't have a background in farming and water generally, but I actually do think that that's what makes me the best person to fill in this role, because my position in here as the Shire representative, not as an interested party representative, not as a farmer or a community member or a member of a political party. It is the Shire's representative that is meant to be there to represent local government, which is our broader community and our Shire as a whole. And I think I fill that role better than Councillor De Campo. Sorry, Wayne. That's all. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. CEO.
Thank you, Madam President. So just reading a written statement from Councillor De Campo, maybe without as much flourish as Councillor De Campo might deliver it. However, good evening, everyone. Thank you for the opportunity to say a few words in my absence. I've had the privilege of serving our community through my years on the Manjimup Shire Council. Over that time, I've seen what can be achieved when we work together, and I've also seen what happens when division takes hold. I'm standing for the Warren Donnelly Advisory Committee because I believe it's time to get things moving again. We all know that the Donnelly Dam project left deep marks on our community. It created division where there should have been cooperation, and that rift has lingered far too long. It's time we put that division to bed once and for all. We can't change what's happened, but we can decide how we move forward together, united by a shared goal of securing a sustainable water future for everyone in the Shire of Manjimup. As someone who's been actively involved in this region for many years, from council chambers to community halls, I've built a track record of getting things done. I know how to bring people together, cut through bureaucracy and deliver real outcomes. That's what I want to bring to this committee. A strong, balanced voice that represents the interests of local water users, not just the directives of departments in Perth. Because, let's be honest, the challenges ahead are significant. The allocation plan and the take periods now being installed by the Department of Water are creating real uncertainty for licence holders. The proposed bypass system in particular poses a massive risk. If implemented the way the department intends, it could cost family farms and local businesses millions of dollars. Money this community simply doesn't have to spare. We can allow policy made in isolation to undermine the livelihoods of the people who live and work here. We can't allow policy made in isolation to undermine the livelihoods of the people who live and work here. The department must be held accountable to the realities on the ground, to the people who actually depend on this water every day. That means having strong representation on this committee, and it means having someone who's not afraid to stand their ground when the department tries to run roughshod over local users. That's why I'm putting my hand up. I'm not here to make noise for the sake of it. I'm here to make progress, to get this committee back on track, to restore cohesion and trust within our water community, and to make sure that every decision made, every plan, every policy serves the interests of the people of the Shire of Manjimup first and foremost. The Warren Donnelly Advisory Committee is enshrined in the Rights and Water and Irrigation Act 1914. Our forefathers knew that we needed a link between users, everyday families and the bureaucrats that administer our water resources. We have an opportunity now to reset, to rebuild and to ensure that the Warren Donnelly Advisory Committee becomes what it was always meant to be. A strong representative voice for local water users, not a rubber stamp for bureaucracy. I've spent my life working for this community and I'm ready to keep doing so. With your support, I'll make sure that common sense, fairness and practical outcomes are back at the heart of our water management decisions. Thank you. Kind regards, Wade de Campo.
Thank you. Slips?
Yes.
Yeah.
So you're chair.
Yes.
So are you a member from us or not?
I am ministerially appointed. So I'm not a Shire, no. I was the Shire rep, no.
You've been, so
I've been promoted, yes. Yes, exactly, yeah. Took me 5 years to get promoted, Jules. Time for a nap.
See if he hasn't texted again.
Thank you.
See you at the bike at 5 o'clock tomorrow morning.
Pass. Okay, so that's passed to Councillor Darren, 7-1. Proxy for the advisory. Councillor Tempera for 7-1. Sorry, did you not hear that? No. Oh, okay. To Councillor Darren, 7-1. Oh, 7-1. 7-1, yes. So proxy, Councillor Tempera. Anyone else want to have a crack at proxy? Fabulous, thank you. Okay. Would we like to come back into standing orders? Councillor Mylan.
I move that we come back into standing orders.
Is there a seconder? Councillor Daniele. Can we put that to the vote, please, councillors? All those in favour? Carried 8-0. Thank you. Okay. Now, would someone like to move the officer's recommendation and add in all those names? Did anyone write them down? Do you want me to do it? Yep, Councillor Tempera? On page 47? Oh, it might be 48, maybe. You have to stand up, Councillor Tempera.
I move that we appoint the following council members to the listed committees and other bodies for the biennial period 21st of October 2025 to 16th of October 2027, or for such shorter term as determined by those groups. The Development Assessment Panel, Councillor Bugie, Councillor Mylan, Councillor Tempera, Councillor Wilcox. Sorry, do I need to state if they're proxy or if they're a member?
Yeah.
Yep, okay. So Shire President Bugie, council member. Councillor Mylan, council member. Councillor Tempera, proxy. Councillor Wilcox, proxy. The Regional Road Group, Shire President Bugie, council member. Councillor Mylan, council member, proxy. The Southwest Zone of the WA Local Government Association, Shire President Danelle Bugie, Councillor Steve Mylan. The Warren Blackwood Alliance of Councils, Shire President Danelle Bugie, Councillor Steve Mylan. The Warren Donnelly Water Advisory Committee, Councillor Darren, member. Councillor Tempera, proxy.
And 2?
And point 2, direct the CEO to advise external bodies where council member representation will not be continuing, and encourage them to invite council members to attend their meetings where matters of relevance to council are to be discussed.
Thank you, Councillor Tempera. Is there a seconder? Councillor Wilcox? Councillor Tempera, did you want to speak to that motion?
No, I think it's self-explanatory.
Thank you. Councillor Wilcox? No, let's put it to the vote, please, councillors. All those in favour? Is carried 8-0. Thank you. Oh, look, we're done. Excellent. Okay. Item 10 is late reports. There are none. 11, questions from members. 11.1, response to question from members taken on notice. There are none. 11.2, question from members. None. 12, motions of consideration at the following meeting. Well, he's not here. 13, new business of an urgent nature introduced by decision of the meeting. No. Applications for leave of absence. Excellent, that's good to see this early in the piece. And 15, there being no further business to discuss, I wish to thank those in attendance and close the meeting at 6:45. Thank you.